So my presentation today will be about how to monetize your apps, how to make money on Windows, and we'll talk about how to make successful apps for Windows and Windows Phone. And before we start, what I would like to ask you is, what do you think makes a successful app? Is that the monetization? Is that something else? And it's always a good question to start with. And I'll continue with the slide. I hope that you guys can see it now. And basically, it's a very simple slide, and this is just what I was able to make in Windows since Windows 8 launched on the magic date of October 26. The total amount is about $100,000, and it keeps growing. It changes, of course, the growth rate changes, of course, from time to time. But that's pretty much where I am right now. And I know that there are many other apps in the Windows Store. I know that some of them may be making more money than me, and I'm really happy to see the ecosystem growing. So the purpose of this presentation is really to share some tips that I have from monetizing my own apps, and maybe to invite you to the dialogue about how you want to make your apps more successful. So let's talk about what makes a successful app. In my opinion, a successful app is the app that is of a high quality. It has the features that your users are looking for. Then it would be interesting if you have some imagination put into that app. And also, of course, using it, the app needs to be using all the principles of Windows design. It needs to be fast, fluid, modern, and least but not last, it may be the monetization. So if you think about all these things, what makes the app successful? I would even start with the quality. I think that if you think about a successful app, then if you think about the features, the quality, your user base, the monetization success will come. When I started to build my own apps, I never thought about making money at all. I mean, it was just basically an opportunity that I saw. I thought that maybe it would be a great opportunity for to step into the market, which is still relatively small. And we'll talk about all this opportunity criteria in the following slides. But I think that if you begin with the quality features, your own imagination, the design of your app, then you will be successful. So I'm going to tell you a story of two apps that I built, and really they're just so completely different that I think it's worth mentioning both of them because they're both on completely different sides of the spectrum. One app is making a lot of money. It's extremely successful in terms of monetization. Another app is really enjoying a huge community support. It has many very active users, and they really love the app. And I'm really proud about both of them. So the first app I'm going to talk about is the app that I built for Windows Phone, and it's called Winter. So Winter is a very special app. It's built for those of us who like any snow sports. It's actually built for skiers, snowboarders, the people who actually enjoy going out and ski when it's cold. So Winter, when I looked at Windows Phone, I was thinking, wow, it has all the features that I need as a skier. Some of you may not know, but Windows Phone, some of the Windows phones, in particular those built by Nokia, actually have a glove-sensitive screen. So if you think about it, it's actually you can actually use the phone with the glove in the cold. It makes a lot of difference. And the modern design concept that Microsoft has is extremely helpful in this environment, because the size of the touch that you have with the glove is actually much bigger. So if you look at the design of the app, it actually has many features that are very glove and cold friendly. So it has all those large tiles. It takes use of panorama. It makes use of panorama, and it actually is a pleasure to use in the bright sun and cold conditions. So the winter started as a design conceptual app, and then it moved into sort of a very functional place where a lot of users started to use it. We now have a community. In just about 2 months, we have a community of about 50,000 users using the app, skiing with the app. And what's interesting is we have an organization in the United States and similar organizations all over the world. It's called the Professional Ski Instructors of America and American Association of Snowboard Instructors. This organization has about 30,000 professional ski and snowboard instructors, and they teach millions of students in the world. And so one of the events that we had I think about 2 weeks ago in Snowbird, Utah, was when we had 300 professional ski instructors skiing with this app in the mountains for about a week. And they loved the app. We had an enormous amount of feedback, pictures taken from by Windows phones in the mountains. You can actually go to my blog and check the this event. But what's interesting is I think in terms of when you think about your app is whether it's successful or not, is how many people are happy because of your app. And to prove that with my app, an enormous amount of people are happy is I have this slide with so many smiley faces, and all of these guys actually skied with the app, and they tremendously enjoyed the experience. Think about the success not only in terms of monetization, but also in terms of the community that your app actually supports. And then the second app, of course, is the Card Games Chest. And the Card Games Chest is the money-making app for me. So the Card Games Chest and the games included in Card Games Chest is either a part of the game or separate games totaled about $100,000 since October 26. So I think what Windows Store represents today in terms of the opportunity, I think it's the biggest development opportunity ever. And if you think about it, Windows has always been an extremely profitable business for our partners. And you don't have to go far. Just look at our competitors and the apps that they built today on our platform. They, at Microsoft, I work with partners a lot, and part of my job is actually help them bring the apps to our ecosystem. And what I'm seeing today is the trend that continues, and the trend is as you guys look at the SDKs and you think about whether to build the app or not, consider this, that most of the large partners that we have are very busy working on the apps for Windows right now. Because the reason for this is, again, Windows itself drives their business, and they want to be into the market very early. So speaking about the opportunity, we all know that the opportunity is being at the right place at the right time. I happened to present at one point to the largest meetup in the country for iOS developers. I'm actually based in the Silicon Valley, very close to Google, to Cupertino also, and we also have a large Microsoft campus here. So when I presented to about 200 iOS developers, the question that I asked them during my presentation, do you guys think that, let's say, if I step into the Apple Store today with a bunch of solitaire games, do you think that I'll be able to make $100,000 in about 6 months as a new developer? And uh, the answer, and again, I was looking for an advice, so maybe I can port my apps to Apple and make some money there. But the answer was that the market is actually very saturated right now, and in terms of for the Apple Store and for the Google Store as well, and uh, I think that that represents a unique opportunity for you as developers who just start building apps for Windows. I of course, with solitaire games, I probably wouldn't be able to make as much money in Apple or in Android because they already have hundreds and maybe thousands of solitaire games well established all over the place, and it would be probably very hard for me to gain any significant market share. So I think every store has its magic moment. Every store has this unique time when you can really step into the store, build the app, and make a lot of money. And uh, the opportunity is finite. So you have a window of opportunity, and if you take it, if you do the effort, and if you publish the app at the right place at the right time, then you can be successful. Um, Again, there is no magic formula to this success. It's not what I'm trying to talk is not about how to get rich fast, how to make money quickly out of nothing. Every app that I build represents a huge effort, a very significant effort. It's all of us have jobs. We all work overtime during the weekends. It's a lot of work to build an app that is used by 500,000 or 1 million people in the world, because they all submit reviews. Most of them submit reviews, comments. You need to react to these comments. You need to make improvements. So it is actually a lot of work. Surprise, surprise. And if you decide to build your own app, just be ready for to answer questions from your consumers. Be ready to improve your app and work on it continuously. It is a huge commitment. It is not easy, but it can be done. Development resources. If you are a developer, and I know some of you from the poll, some of you just started building for Windows, some of you are looking into development resources that we have. The easiest way to get started is to go to dev.windows.com if you want to build a Windows app, and dev.windowsphone.com if you want to build a Windows Phone app. This is the starting place. Just go to any of these locations and download the free Visual Studio, the SDKs, everything. I think I've heard some of the previous presentations from iOS developers, and I think the comment that I've heard was that we have excellent tools that really make development several times easier than building the apps in iOS and Android. And I actually agree with this. I think that probably it makes, to build an app on Windows is about maybe a 30% effort compared to what you have on iOS and Android. And it's because, again, because of the well thought out UI, because of the design principles that we implement, and also because of the quality of the development tools. So definitely go to these resources. And Microsoft is huge about design. I mean, it's so big about design these days that I don't know any other company, including Apple, that invests so much time in and effort in design. And if if you remember the app that I mentioned at the very beginning, the winter app, I mean, how many apps in have you seen in the world that actually are designed using our design principles and that are uh, so friendly for the users in, for example, in a specific field scenario, such as winter cold conditions. So this is just one example on how to take the design guidelines that we have and build an outstanding product that is used and loved by many, many users in the world. So definitely take a look at design.windows.com. There is a way to, and they have recommendations there about how to port your iOS apps, how to port your websites to Windows. Because there are certain things there that you need to consider, and these things are actually make a lot of sense if you think about how to use tablets and how to use your users will be using your app in different environments on the modern devices. And some of the examples that I have are in the Professional Windows 8 Programming book, which I co-authored, and you can find some code examples. Unfortunately, I can't show you everything that I made during this presentation, but some of these examples are in chapter 11, specifically on monetization. And to answer the question, no, technical book authors don't make a lot of money on technical books. So believe me, this is not the ad. This is more a pointer for you to where to get the information that I was using to actually build my own apps. So monetizing the apps. Let's drill a little bit into the specifics. Um, so we have several models that you can choose from. And of course, you can make your app free. You can make your app pay per download, which means that the users doesn't have any choice, but they have to buy your app prior to using it. And then we have a very interesting model called a trial. So right next to the buy button, the users will see a try button in the store. And the try button will allow them to download the app, play with it, and then at some point, based on your app's logic, the users can either buy the app or maybe stop using it or have still use it, but have a limited set of features. It's entirely up to you. And then, of course, we have the in-app purchase. So in-app purchase allows you to have your own products within the apps. It's a fantastic system. I use it all the time in my own monetization. We have the ads. And in addition to, that's what I'd like to comment because I hear a lot of questions about that, is we also have expiring products. And if you think about expiring products, you can actually make features into your app that are very similar to subscriptions. So you can have products that expire over time, which is great for models like, for example, having a magazine or some kind of a video rental store or something like that. So we do have expiring products in this capability in the API. And then, of course, you can use any third-party e-commerce system, which actually makes a lot of sense if you already have an iOS or Android app and you have an established a business model there. So you just simply want to build a Windows version of it, but you want to keep the current e-commerce system. You can also do that. However, the advantages, of course, in using the Windows Store built-in systems is, of course, you get all the fantastic reporting. You can do drill downs into the demographics category. It's all well integrated, so it actually is very easy to use. But if you want to use third-party, no problem at all. So, very important point. Making a successful app, in my humble opinion, doesn't have to be a search for philosopher's stone. Some of the questions that I had were, what if I, let's say, how would you recommend using this approach or that approach? I think if you focus on the idea of your app, on your users, on the quality, on design, then the success will come to you because it's just it engages the users. If you start searching for ways of making gold out of nothing, I don't think it's a good idea, and I think it's never been a successful idea since the ages when people started to look for philosopher's stone. So focus on the idea, quality, and design of your apps. So once you publish your app, and once you're in either a Windows Store or a Windows Phone Store web portal, you can take a look at the some of the stats about the usage of your app. So you can look at the adoption. You can you can look at the user base, demographics of your users. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the number of users that use my card games that are older than 55 years old. And what's interesting is not only they find it comfortable using Windows 8 and the modern UI features, but they also are willing to pay for the premium features in the app. Actually, most of the users that I had were older than 55-year-old that were paying for the app for the app itself, or for the paying for the premium in-app purchase features in the app. So it is a very interesting experience. You can adjust your business model based on the demographics that you have. And of course, you can take a look at the use of your application, how long the users stay in application. You can look at the crash reports even and see, hey, you know, we have, let's say my app had an issue somewhere and I want to fix it. So this gives you a lot of information about how to do that. Also, you can look at on average compared with other apps how your app is doing in the category. And that is also very, very helpful. And of course, there are third-party products and tools that you can use to even enhance this analytics even more. You can use you can see what version of the operating system or what specific device that we're running on. This is not part of the Windows Store analytics, but there are third-party products that allow you to do that as well. So the ecosystem definitely grows. It's well supported by the tools, and I think it's a fantastic experience overall working with the Windows Store. Another very interesting tip is the more you sell, the more you make in terms of the paid apps. And again, Windows Store has this tiered model. When you take so the original split is you take home 70% and Microsoft takes home 30%, which is natural, right? But then once you start making $25,000 or more on your app, Microsoft only takes 20%. So it actually, once your app scales, it makes a very significant difference. If it makes $1 million, you take home $97,000 more. That's a pretty significant advantage in terms of how much money you can take. But of course, you first need to start making $25,000 in your app. And then here's a creative way to monetize the app. So Winter app for Windows Phone right now is the first app ever in the world that actually makes its own skis these days. And if you look at the slide, you can actually see me with the winter skis that I extensively tested in Snowbird, Utah, and you can order those skis made by our partner, Wagner Custom Skis, directly from the app. So this is another creative way of monetizing your app. You can leverage your partnerships, you can work with your partners, and you can actually make a fantastic way of monetizing your app, just based on some specifics of your app. And I'll just go to the next slide. Another tip is use the trial model. So the trial, as I told you during the previous slides, is when and you can simply enable it when you submit the app by checking the checkbox whether your app supports the trial or not, is when you don't have to build a separate trial and light version of the app, which is great. So what we found is with Windows Store is trials translate into much higher revenue. So let your users try the app first before they buy them, and we provide all the plumbing and all the infrastructure for you to do it very, very easily from the Windows Store. I think it's an amazing feature. Another tip is be ready to adjust your monetization model. And you may need to adjust your model several times. Very often I'm asked the question, what percentage of money you're making from the in-app purchase versus ads versus paid downloads and such. And so the answer to this, it's a very dynamic system. There is no definitive answer to that because it really depends on A, the quality of your app, B, how long the users stay in the app, C, do they really like the app, and so on and so forth, and the number of downloads, of course. So as your app starts to grow, initially you may just as well make most of your money from the paid downloads or trial unlocking. But then once the number of downloads starts to grow, then you may include in-app purchase, and then maybe you can include ads, and or you can have ads from the very beginning. It really depends on many factors. So. But be ready to adjust your monetization model, and it's very easy to do, especially if you watch your app and you watch the Windows Store stats continuously. So to summarize, my belief, and again, I made my bet on October 26, if not earlier, is that the Windows Store is the biggest development opportunity ever. The number of Windows users in this world is, I think, 90% of users use Windows. We had 700 million or so licenses of Windows 7 sold. Most of these users are gradually converting to Windows 8 and the modern UI as well. And the bet that I made, I think it was very successful. If you want to time the market, the time is right now. You can start building the app. You can step into the marketplace that we have, and the window of opportunity is definitely right now. And this is my last slide. You can ask any questions that you want. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the audience, and I know that we have people at Microsoft that actually will be happy to help you with the QA as well and answering some questions offline.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. I do want to encourage you. You can all submit your questions using the Cover It Live chat. We did have one question come in. It was, how do you suggest pricing the apps?
Oh, thank you, Eric. It's an excellent question. So pricing your app is really the decision that you make probably very early, but then you keep working on that pricing model as your app gets bigger and bigger, and as you get more downloads. So pricing the app really depends on the business model that you have and on the type of the app that you have. It's worth mentioning that in the Windows Store, you can price your app starting at $1.49. And the maximum price is $999.99. So first of all, why it's not 99 cents? Actually, as a developer, I like it a lot. I think it puts a very reasonable initial price, which is a little bit higher than 99 cents. So as a developer, I actually like it. The approach that I usually take is called sensitivity analysis. And sensitivity analysis basically you can, let's say, take the maximum price, which is $999.99, right? And and then you say, okay, so would anybody buy my card game for $999.99, no matter how good it is? Probably not, right? And then you keep going down and down and down, and probably you'll at some point you'll find a sweet spot somewhere between, let's say, $1.49, which is the minimum price, or maybe even the free, and maybe $19, right? So that's pretty much the sweet spot range for my particular app. For an app which may be a video editing tool or some more advanced app that is really targeting a business user, perhaps a price of $499 or even $999 is good enough. Um, so it really depends on how and what user base, how your business model works and what user base you have. Most of the success for mass consumer market and mass consumer market is coming from the freemium models, of course. They scale a lot, and then you can actually adjust the price if you want to, for instance, to monetize or find additional ways to monetize it. So pricing the app is always a work in progress for me, and I think that for many developers, as the app grows, they keep finding ways to add maybe additional products, maybe additional features to the app, and I think it's like a live organism. It's something that you can start with and then keep growing.
Okay, do you want to thank you for your question? We've had a couple other questions come in. One of them is, what are your thoughts on ad-supported apps?
Yeah, so ad supporting app, I think adding advertisement is essential to the success of any app. Um, and you can add advertisements in several ways. You can have a paid version of the app or a trial version of the app, and you can add, an advertising control to it. And Microsoft has a fantastic, very easy to use advertising control. You literally simply drop it on the designer surface of Visual Studio, and basically everything is plugged in. All you need to do is just to add your application ID and your ad unit ID. You can manage the ads then on the website, and it's a very easy to use system. So I do believe that if you start building a new app, I think it's a very serious improvement to the monetization model if you think about using the ads from the very beginning. But of course, when you publish the app, it's important that especially if you have some in-app purchases in the app, or if you have a trial app with the ads, that you also give the users the way to maybe perhaps use a version of the app without them, so that you can actually that they can focus on the functionality by paying a certain premium, for example. Some of the comments that I had at the very beginning, and at some point I think I forgot to actually enable this functionality, so I had some comments from the users asking me whether when they buy the app, they'll still see the ads and such. So I made it very, very clear in my in-app purchase model that if when they get a paid version of the app, they won't see the ads again.
All right, thank you. We do have another question came through. It is, what dev tools did you use for the card games chest? Cocos 2D, C Sharp?
I used, thank you for the question. It's a great question. I used Microsoft Visual Studio and Microsoft Expression Blend. Expression Blend is amazing for creating animations. And the reason why I used the Visual Studio and not other tools is primarily because the first version of the apps that I built were built for the Windows Phone, and it was a very easy way for me to migrate the apps from Windows Phone, because literally the same code base, to Windows 8. Windows 8 is 95% the same code base in terms of in terms of porting your app as Windows Phone. So it's very easy to make that transition. And yeah, so I use Expression Blend and I used C Sharp.
Okay, we did have another question come through. It is, I'm an indie developer from Ukraine. How can I get marketing and technical help from a Microsoft evangelist?
Absolutely, it's a great question. Thank you for that. Um, Microsoft has representatives and partners in many countries and regions. And if you're in Ukraine, what I would suggest is going to Ukraine Microsoft site and finding, I would look for events that Microsoft has in your area. And typically we have evangelists available to answer questions in all countries. Then what I would do is I would try to come to one of these events and talk to the evangelists and see if they can answer my questions.